Hi guys, time for the next installment of the Paladin Guides. Today we're going to be looking at the level 300 to 400 range. Just quickly, prerequisites, the recommended skills for this level range is somewhere around 110 distance and at least 30 magic level. I would say maybe even a little bit higher magic level would be recommended, maybe around 32 is something I'd expect. You'll obviously need a premium account, some knowledge, experience with the game. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I suggest looking into some other guides about some of the places I'm talking about. I'm not going to be going into much detail explaining everything in here, so I'm expecting sort of baseline level of knowledge and experience. And you'll need some money for, the gear and items and imbuements. And spoiler alert, at this level range is when items really start getting expensive. So moving on, this is it. We have the new equipment available. Here I will include the level 300 items as well, even though I think maybe I covered them in the previous 200 to 300 guide, but I'll just reiterate here. We've got all the new Falcon items. That's Falcon Bow at level 300, Falcon Coif and Falcon Greaves at level 300 as well. I forgot to put the level in here. In addition to this, we now have all the soul items as well as the primal ordeal items. That's the soul bleeder in the bow slot, which has recently become a lot cheaper due to the addition of sanguine bows from level 600. We also have the alicorn quiver, alicorn headguard, soul shell, alicorn ring, and soul walkers. And I guess something I'll spend a minute talking about here is the prioritization of these items, because that's something that people ask a lot, what you should prioritize. From my experience, alicorn headguard, the helmet, is incredibly strong. It's really, really good. It's just passively very, very good. So I myself usually will get the alicorn headguard as the first one from these sort of level 400 items, that is. Because obviously the Falcon items you probably want to get around level 300, like Falcon Greaves and stuff, are very good. But once you get to the level 400, I personally would go for alicorn headguard first. After that, I would probably go for soul bleeder. It's very strong, and the price of it has dropped now. I think if you asked me the same question a year ago, I probably wouldn't say Soul Bleeder because of how expensive they are, but because they have dropped in price, and I think I would probably get Soul Bleeder next. After that, I would probably go for Soul Walkers. I mean, they're very strong as well with the physical protection, the boots. And then you've got the Alicorn Ring, Alicorn Quiver, and Soul Shell. The Alicorn Quiver I love because I love quality of life that comes with it, which is just these extra spots for ammunitions, but really it's not that amazingly strong, so up to you how much you value quality of life. If you do, then Alicorn Quiver is great. Otherwise, Alicorn Ring is probably the next thing I would get, as it's very, very strong. It gives you lots of defenses. And yeah, last of all, Soul Shell, in my experience, is probably the least useful one. The main strength of it is that you can imbue it with fire, that it has built-in fire protection, which is useful. But you can often just imbue your other armors with fire protection, and then that takes away a lot from the power of the Soul Shell. So for me, Soul Shell is probably the last one I would get, and Alicorn Headguard is the first. The rest you can kind of just mix in and out. I really like the Soul Bleeder at least. Anyway, that's the equipment you can sort of start thinking about in the level 300 to 400 range. Moving on, for recommended quests. So all of these quests are basically boss type access quests, most of the popular bosses in the game as of the making of this video for this level range. So you definitely want to complete the Dream Chords, the Feaster of Souls, Grave Danger. Adventures of Galthan is probably sort of like on the bottom of this list. I don't know, I put it in the middle, but it's probably the least important one, but you still want to do it due to the access to some of the areas and quests. You will want to do the section to access deeper Ixupan with the Mitmars and stuff, because that's quite a good level, quite good experience, a spot for this level. Anyway, moving on, you will also want to finish A Pirate's Tale. So this is the Ratmiral sort of quest line. You will want to start thinking about Ferumbra's Ascendant. It's quite an annoying quest with all the boss accesses. However, just recently Tipsoft added a shortcut to all the hunting grounds of Ferumbra's Ascendant, so that quest should be easier to do going forward, so that's a big plus. And finally, if you still haven't completed, you really want to complete Heart of Destruction. You really should have been looking at it already from the previous guide from like level 250 to 300. If you still haven't completed that, make sure to complete Heart of Destruction. That is really, really good and profitable. Moving on, imbuements, nothing's changed here. I always just repeat this one in every guide. You want to have Void, Vampirism, Crit in your bow, Vampirism in your armor, and Void plus Intricate Epiphany in your helmet, and Protection imbuement in the armor if you need it for whatever it is you're hunting. Finally, we're going to look at some of the best hunting grounds for this level range. With regards to PG best hunting spots, first of all, I have Yalahar Grims here. Now, very recently they were rebalanced. And they're actually really good now. The pathing is good, the density is good. It's actually going to be one of the best spots from sort of like level 200 to 400. I believe you can get somewhere around 3kk raw there, which is still very good at this level range. Similarly, you're still looking at Were Hyenas South and Asura Palace already from the previous guide. They're still very, very good at this level. Unfortunately, they're still some of the best spots. So Were Hyenas South max out somewhere around 3kk raw as well. And Asura Palace, you can push somewhere to about 3.4kk raw. So these are still some of your best spots. And finally, you have Asura Mirror, which opens up somewhere around level 350. At the start, you'll probably be making just a little bit more than 4kk raw at Asura Mirror, but that place scales really well with levels, and you're going to be hunting there for hundreds of levels. It can, it maxes out about 6kk raw, which is just really excellent, but obviously that's going to be at a much higher level. With regard to some other regular hunting spots, alternatives, either because they're less popular or they do some good profit, you can look at places like Deepa Banuta, complete some task points. You can look at Drefia Grim Reapers. They're still good, not as good as the Yalahar Grims. Now after the rebalance, you've got the Medusa Tower, which is pretty interesting as well. You've got the standard Were Lions. After all the nerfs, Were Lions aren't as amazing anymore, but they're still very good. Definitely make sure to check it out. You've got the Draken Walls. Warzone 6 is also quite an interesting spot for some profit, especially if suspicious devices are quite expensive on your world. And Lower Roshamel is also a place somewhere around level 350 that opens up. And again, great profit. A little bit less experience, but it's definitely something you want to be checking out at this level range. Complete the bestiary on Frazzle Moors and Silencers, because that will make the next level range 400 to 500 when you're looking at hunting Upper Roshamel. It's going to make that a lot easier if you've already got those two bestiaries. Anyway, this is what I have for you today, guys. This is just a short summary of what you're going to be looking at in this sort of level 300 to 400 range. I hope you found that useful. If you have any questions, comments, feel free to ask in YouTube comments. Alternatively, join our Discord channel. We've got over 1,000 people there now. I'm always active there, happy to answer any questions. So thank you for watching. I hope it's been helpful, and I'll see you around. Bye-bye.